All right, greetings and salutations, and welcome back to part two of our landscape project. I'll post it here. Okay. So last week we talked quite a bit about perspective. I'm going to show you that definition again when we're talking about perspective. When we're talking about perspective, it's the appearance of depth on a two-dimensional surface. So by using line, we're able to draw people into our pictures. And I don't mean draw them like draw them in, but actually make them get pulled into our pictures to really look at them and see that appearance of depth. And remember, an appearance is something, the way something looks. So we can take our drawings and make them almost 3D, okay? Even though we're drawing on a two-dimensional surface, all right? We also talked, how are we going to achieve that? We're going to use our horizon line, okay, which is where the sky meets the earth. And then we added in this new thing, vanishing point, the point where everything goes to and then disappears. When we left off last week, we have drawn in we folded our paper to create our horizon line, okay? And then I had you use your ruler. Do that real quick. I had you use your ruler to create a vanishing point. Now this one's way over here, okay? I moved ours over because I didn't want it to be so many cactuses. So I moved ours over so it looked more like this. I had us move our vanishing point in about 2 fingers into the paper. That way we could add a little bit more to our pictures to make them look even more realistic. So what I want to do today is we're going to be using our pencil. Get that to stay down, okay? We're going to be using our eraser. You can use a pink eraser. This one's a white rubber style eraser. Okay, we're going to need our ruler. So that'll hold that down for me. And once we're done actually doing a lot of our sketching, the final part is you're going to use your colored pencils to go ahead and create a nice, colorful landscape. All right, so please make sure you have all of these supplies, plus your drawing from last time. I said I already started coloring mine just because, well, I had some time and I wanted to throw in a little bit of color. All right, so let's get those things that we need and let's get started. Okay. So here is my drawing from last time. And if you guys recall, I said that we only wanted to put, well, you had to have at least 5 saguaro cacti, but no more than like 8 or 9, because that would just be too many. It would get too cluttered. So I kind of spaced mine out a little bit. Hopefully, now if you spaced yours along perfectly, they don't actually grow like that in the wild. In the wild, they're very sporadic where they grow. A lot of times one will grow right next to each other, and I may actually add some in here. But what I want to do right now is start working on the background behind my cacti. Let's add in some hills. Let's add in some clouds. And we're still going to be doing it by using perspective, okay, and vanishing point on our horizon line, okay? So here's how we're going to start. I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm going to think about what's going on behind these cacti. If this is my horizon line, that means that way over there, that's where the sky meets the earth. Now we folded the paper just so we can make a real quick horizon line. When you're drawing, you may want to use a ruler. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just kind of pencil that in. I was going to use my ruler, but just so you can see a little bit better on my paper. So that's my horizon line way over there. I want to add in some mountains that are following that horizon, maybe as I'm driving, right? And I can see these mountains, they're going to go off into the distance. So I'm going to use the same vanishing point. Now you guys haven't colored your cactus in yet. Whoop. Well, that tells you what time of day it is. Okay. You haven't colored in your cactus yet, so it's okay that we can draw through them a little bit, but we're going to draw very lightly. And I want you to just, let's see, if you want to measure and be more precise, you can measure about 3 inches up from your horizon line, or I'm actually going to do about 2.5 inches up from my horizon line, or maybe 2. Let's just do 2 inches. You can do whatever you want, I guess. Right about there. I'm going to put a dot in between my cactus and its the trunk and the arm. I'm going to line my ruler up again with that dot I just made and the vanishing point. Okay, it's kind of hard to see on here because I can turn it this way, but I'm not very good at drawing lines that way. Let's try it this way. Okay, so here's my vanishing point, and here's that line I just made. And very lightly, don't press hard because you're going to have to erase it. Draw another line. And it's okay if you go through your cactus because hopefully you haven't colored yours in yet like I did mine. Okay, so now we have a line that's going here, and I'm going to have that meet up with my horizon line. Okay. I'm going to use this guide to make some hills in the background behind my cactus. Before I do that, though, I'm going to draw yet another set of lines using. So let's. Actually, it just, all that matters is that wherever you start your line is that it ends here on your vanishing point. So I'm going to make a little nick here, and then I'll make a little one over here. Okay. And I'm going to draw a line from where I made my paper here over to my vanishing point. Just like that. I'm drawing a little bit harder than you should because I want you to be able to see my lines on the computer, on the camera. Okay. So now I've got some vanishing lines going up into the sky. Okay. If you want, so that you don't, if you've already drawn your cactus in, if you want, so they don't confuse you, you can erase the line that you used for your cactus. That's why I had you guys draw it really softly so that it comes out of the paper real easy when you erase it. Okay. So I'm going to make that line disappear. And then I'm going to make this bottom line disappear. Okay. Okay, there we go. So now I've got my horizon line and what I'm going to use to make my hills in the background. And then if you can guess, since I put these lines here, I'm going to make some clouds, just a couple clouds that are going to look like they're going back into that vanishing point. And I could even use the line that I drew from my mountains to make clouds and make them get smaller. But I'm going to start with my little mountains in the background. So where I've drawn this line, just kind of come up, go from your horizon line and go up to your little, that line and just make some little mountains. And try not to make mine too predictable, but the thing is, I saw some folks that were turning their pictures into me. It is not going to go below the horizon line, nor is it going to go above this other line that we drew this way. That's how perspective works. Okay, so maybe this mountain comes up and then it just kind of comes over and ends like this. Maybe this one's coming from behind it. Have it come up right to that line. Bring it down. Give it a little bump if you want. Go back up. Hit that bump again. Don't go above it. Try not to make them too predictable. Don't just go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, give your mountains some little bumps. Like they would be like cliffs when they were up there. Bring them back up again. Maybe this one dents in a little bit and then comes up. Mountains in Arizona are pretty rugged looking. And I'm going to come back down over here. And then maybe I'll kind of just leave it there. Okay. Maybe I'll make this one come down a little bit in front of that one in the background. That's fine. You could do however you want. But like I said, just try not to be so predictable. Don't just go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. No zigzag lines. Give a little craziness to it. Okay. Then I talked about making some clouds. I'm going to use these same guidelines I just did here to make some clouds. So maybe way off in the distance here, staying between those two lines I drew for my vanishing point, I'm going to make a little puffy cloud. And I don't want to be too like 1, 2, 3. So let's just make another kind of big one. It's a rain cloud. Maybe it's got a flat bottom. And we'll go around like this. Again, try and make your clouds a little less predictable too. They can be all kinds of fun shapes. It's okay if it goes out just a little bit. Okay, so now you can see there's a cloud that's closer to me and a cloud that's farther away. My mountains, you can see that these are the mountains that are closest to me and the mountains that are farthest away. And it's the same thing with my cactus. This cactus is closest to me and this guy way over here is farthest away. Now, if you want to add a couple more clouds, you could even add another line. Okay, let me see if I can get this right. All right, I'm going to do like this, make another set of vanishing point lines like this. And then maybe I'll put a cloud here. So it's not just stepped. Let's make it poofier than the other ones. Okay, there we go. Now, when I did my vanishing lines, okay, vanishing point, and I guess these are all vanishing lines. When I did my vanishing lines, I drew them very softly with my pencil. If you draw them too hard, they're not going to come out. So now I can take my eraser and I can go back and very carefully erase the line that I made by my mountains. Okay. There we go. I got one in there. And do the same thing with where I made my clouds. I moved the camera. I locked it over to my desk rather than onto the drafting table I normally use because I noticed my videos were getting a little bit wobbly whenever I was erasing. So hopefully this time it won't wobble as much. Get all that out of there. There we go. Okay, I went through this one. Now, if I erased and I accidentally erased part of my cloud, I can always, or your mountains, you can go back and always put it back in. Just kind of follow your same lines. There we go. I guess you could say it's partly cloudy skies, right? Dun-dun-dun. Okay. Now, I haven't done anything over on this side of my paper, right? Right now, everything's just kind of going there, and over here is just kind of blank. So if you want, you can use your vanishing point again. If you want to create another set of vanishing point lines, you could add another cactus over on this side. Make it a little less predictable, right? But this one's still the closest to us. Okay, I'm going to add another cactus on the side. Maybe you want to make this a road. Now that's kind of cool, like if you're driving down a road. So what you're going to do there is figure out how wide your road's going to be. And off your vanishing point, okay, first thing I do is always make a straight line straight towards me. That's the middle of the road. Then I can go back and figure out how wide the road is going to be in relation to where I'm at. That's kind of narrow, huh? So maybe it's going to be that wide. So I use an eraser. Let's see here. It's going to get smaller. Let's see if I'm doing it this way, though. I got to measure it. So let's do 1.5 inches on, or let's do 2 inches on this side. And then 2 inches on this side. But oh, look, there's my bell to go. Appears, right? So how am I going to do a 2 inch? Well, you could always just leave it here on your table. I'm going to put a mark on my table so I don't lose it. Don't move your paper. And then take your ruler. Okay, if I draw on the table, I can always erase it. Oh, don't move. This one, it's okay if it moves. There we go. From there to there. My 2 inches, I measured it out. Look there. So now there's like a road going that way. And you can make it so there's like the little lines in it and stuff. And the little bumps in the road are going to get further and further away. You can make yours wider if you want to make it more like you're really right there. Okay. A lot of the stuff I'm doing with this project, I'm kind of leaving up to you guys. But what I'm going to be looking for those of you who, once I figure out how you can submit your art to me, I'm going to be looking for this vanishing point and that everything, I think of it like this, everything's getting sucked into that point. Okay. And that's where it all vanishes to. Now I've laid in my hills going to my vanishing point. I've laid in some clouds going to my vanishing point. You know, I put another cactus over on this side. Now I can go in and fill in a little bit more of what I want. If you want to make more cactus in the background, you can, but just remember that they're going to be smaller than this because they're off in the distance a little bit. Okay. So you can do it this way. Fill in another cactus, put another arm on it. It's not going to be as fat as this one over here because it's over here in the distance. If you remember that most cactus grow around in bushes and things, you can make some bushes around your cactus that stick up, usually little things that have flowers. I invite you, I encourage you actually to go onto like Google and type in desert landscape, Arizona desert landscape, and see what, rocks. You could put a little lizard. It's entirely up to you what you want to do with your background in here. Okay. There's another kind of cactus called a barrel cactus. We could draw him in there. He's just kind of round. I got to be careful though, because right now it looks like this cactus is sitting on top of this cactus, doesn't it? So you got to make sure you do something with the background so it doesn't do that. If you want to make one of those cholla cactuses, they're like a bunch of little pieces that go together and then they jump off it. Not cactus. Okay. Definitely research your cactus beforehand before you start drawing it. I'll put a cholla right here. My mom will laugh about that. We used to have one in our yard. I can't tell you how many times I got that stuff stuck in me when I was a kid. So there we go. The sky's the limit as I'm drawing a cloud, really, when you're doing this 1-point perspective. I really, really don't like this guy right here because it looks like the other cactus is sitting on top of him. Let's kind of put him behind this one a little bit. That's a little bit more dynamic in my drawing. But see how I'm going to make him in here? The cactus ends here. I made this one here. That means it's a little bit further back behind that one. These guys have really big spines. Okay. And then when you get ready to color using your colored pencils, the way I colored in my cactus, that's the way I did this, just so you guys can see them. They're not that bright, dark green. Their ribs could be, but I actually ended up using almost like a yellow green to create the color in my cactus. And then using my darker green, it has those lines, which is actually where the spines go. I made these lines that kind of came down through it like this. Okay. I also was a big fan of highlighting or outlining my cactus in green first. I'm doing the arms in green first. Like that. Before I start coloring it in with the light green. And then as for my mountains, as things go further away from us, they get almost like blurry in color. So I can color down here. I'm not going to make it really like detailed. I'm just going to kind of put them in there. They're going to be a little bit blurry. But as I get closer and closer, so like up here, when I'm drawing my mountains, I can even make details in there. I can make like there's a rock going on in here. Okay. This is right about halfway is where this is where you're going to start to see detail. And back here, it's just going to kind of be some fuzzy color. Okay, going off into the distance like that. Using my horizon line, okay, to show where my mountains are and where they go. that. And then I can come back in here and color this all in brown, that light brown. When you're doing the desert floor, you're going to want to mix brown, like a little bit of brown, but also mix in a little bit of yellow. That'll give you that kind of dirt feel. If you're making any kind of bushes, it depends on what time of year. So if it's in the spring, yeah, I'm going to have green grasses growing up in clumps. There might be some yellow flowers on them. Okay. If you're doing stuff that's happening in the wintertime, everything's died off. So it's just brown and yellows. And the only thing that stays kind of green is the cactus. Okay. If you would like to make yours like a sunrise or a sunset colors, you can. And that'd be kind of pretty, wouldn't that, on this? But then if we do that, then we have to remember their shadows, but that's a whole nother story. So I could even make this in here. I could do like an orange in here. Arizona sunsets, and well, New Mexico too. If you've ever been in Arizona, they have such beautiful sunsets. Colors that you can't even imagine. Reds and greens, not reds, greens, reds, oranges, purples. It's just really amazing. So you can go ahead and kind of make the sky that reddish color if you want. Or if you want to do it daytime, just do it blue. Okay. If you want to throw the sun in there, you can put the sun down here as our vanishing point. But just remember, then you're going to have to put in the shadows for your cactus. Okay. I will finish one of mine and I will post it for you guys to see. But I would love to see you guys what you're doing at home. So I'm going to be posting a video this week on how you can use a certain app program on your laptop to take pictures of your artwork so that you can send it to me. Let's throw in some rich violet too. Put some violet into that sky. All right. Those clouds, but the reason I was doing this so you can see the clouds. So there's that one way far over there, one in the middle, one over here. Really gives you an idea there, okay? Play with it, okay? Practice. If your horizon lines aren't working out, or your perspective lines aren't working out, try something different. Okay. Let me show you what it'll look like. Oh, nope, that one's over there. Never mind. Just pick whatever vanishing point you want and just make sure all your lines go to that vanishing point. Everything will go there. And if you do it, you'll get something like this. Okay. And when you create those vanishing lines, okay, go back to this one, somebody else's work. I want you to make sure that you stay within those lines for what you're drawing. Because if you do something like this, do you see the mistake that was made here? Yeah, she didn't keep it within those lines. Like here she did okay, and here she did okay, but some reason here she went bigger, and here she went above it. So we're going to work on that next class. Also, don't be afraid with your arms to make them stick out in different directions and different shapes. Don't make them so uniform. Okay. Let me show you this one here too. Again, this was a little bit more correct, right? Okay, he's doing a great job keeping this up in between the lines. You can see it. Okay, the cactus is coming up in between the lines. And I'm sharing some artwork with you. Whereas this one, I don't know what happened. Suddenly there's cactus all over the place. Okay. But I'm showing you your classmates' work here at school. So lots of good stuff here. Okay, lots of good stuff. This person did a great job coming down to that vanishing point with their cactus. All right, so there we go. We just learned a little bit about vanishing point, and we learned information about saguaro cactus and about the desert. So go forth and draw. If you have any questions, please post them to the questions for Miss G in your team. And I would be happy to answer them, or you can shoot me something in chat. Say, hey, Miss G, I have a question about this. So with that being said, I wish you guys all to have a great day. And you know what? Have an even better tomorrow. I'll see you again soon.